What's up, everybody? This is Hog Farmer Joe from Hog Farmer Charitable Foundation. Before you listen to Enter the Lab podcast today, presented by Red Zone in the Lab, I'm asking you to help us on our mission by helping children and families affected by pediatric cancer by making a small donation at www.hogfarmercharity.org. Thank you, and as always, hail to the Commanders.
The last time we had a show, I made some comments on Cam Newton and his sudden promotion on him being better than 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. Well, now we're circling back to this week, and Cam Newton now says, yeah, I still have that confidence I can be better than top 32 quarterbacks. But now he's going on to say that I'm okay with being a backup. Is he accepting reality? I mean, the Cam Newton accepting reality. And he's talking about being a backup behind guys like Sam Howell, Ritter, all these young, unproven cats. And you want an MVP? You're one of the most pivotal figures in the NFL? Is this Cam Newton? Did Cam Newton humble himself? I don't know, man. I don't know what can we get in this week. Maybe next week he's talking about I might be a quarterback coach. I think Cam has hit the wall. Respectfully.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy C. Henry, the host and producer of the Fellas Present Sports Rap podcast. I discuss the latest happenings around the NFL, college football, the NBA, and also the latest from the Detroit sports scene. I try to keep it informative and funny, and we always keep it light with some of my hip-hop favorites mixed in as interludes. Follow me at CHEN313 on Twitter. That's at CHEN313. And also subscribe to the show on Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And again, that's the DA, Fellas Presents Sports Rap Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Enter the Lab podcast. I'm your host, DT. And today, we talk about top 3 trades that could happen this offseason coming up. We also talk about the top 5 defensive linemen this upcoming draft. And is it still smoke season? We'll have C. Henry discuss. Get your coat. It's Enter the Lab.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Enter the Lab with my boy DT, C. Henry, and you know your one and only Lady E.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Enter the Lab podcast. I'm your host, DT. We got the lovely Lady E, and we got my boy C. Henry on a Thursday evening. We are back.
What's going on, DT? What's going on, Lady E?
What's up? How are you gentlemen doing tonight as my Braves trying to take home another win against the San Diego Padres? We tied right now.
I'm doing very, very well, man. We're getting close to this draft, man. I need the Braves to win too. I think I got them in a nice little parlay this evening, so I'm trying to make something stake myself. See, I'm a Atlanta Braves fan myself.
See, look, that's how it goes. Come on to the A, baby. We love you down here. Get away from that big D.
Okay, family. So today, this edition of Lab Work, we're going to talk about, and we had our pre-production meetings. We talked about what could be some 3 possible trades that could happen between now and heading to the NFL draft, which is in a couple of weeks. And of course, the topic will be Lamar Jackson. He hasn't. We haven't heard much since last couple of weeks talk about what he really wants in the contract, or the Baltimore Ravens organization itself don't even want to talk about their quarterback, which is highly strange. So one of the trades we discussed was Lamar Jackson to the 49ers. And when you think of a trade like this and this magnitude, it schematically, it makes possibly the most sense out of all the teams when you really think about it. The team is set up for success now. They just need that quarterback. We don't know what we have in Trey Lance. You've seen Brock Purdy. He had that success last year, but he's also coming off an injury, and they signed Sam Darnold. So Lamar Jackson going to the 49ers, obviously he'll be the best quarterback in the NFC, but I think we'll possibly see his highest potential being on that roster. I'm gonna ask C. Henry, what do you think about the possibilities of that coming to fruition, or is just it's just off season talk? We're just making up mind-boggling trades at this point.
I mean, well, anything positively can happen. When you look at that, like you said, from a schematic situation, man, it would be kind of crazy, man, having him in the same offense in the same backfield with CMC and Debo and some of those weapons out there. It'd be interesting to see what type of compensation it would take to get him out there, because I don't believe the San Francisco 49ers have a first-round pick this draft. So, just based off of, even though he has not signed the transition tag, just based off that, looking at the compensation starting at least probably 2 first-round picks at the very least, will Baltimore be willing to kind of wait a year, or two for those picks? So I don't know. I mean, it looks good on paper, but I don't know about the, the real probability of that trade happening.
I mean, I talked to a couple of 49ers fans, and they believe that it can happen. They, like you said, I agree. They are set up. The 49ers are, and all the teams that are possible that can get them, the 49ers are the best ones set up for success. They just went out there, made them a big trade, and got Hargrave from the Eagles. I was going to say the Phillies in baseball season. But no, they went and grabbed them to buster up their defense. Like I said, they got Debo, they got Kittle, they got CMC. They have I'm about to really jack up this man's name. Never could get it, but their tight end. Yeah, I'll let y'all get it, but I'm gonna jack up his name. But
You
yeah.
talk Kittle?
No, not Kittle. What's the other dude? What's the other dude's name? Is he a wide receiver?
Oh, maybe you talking about Kyle Juszczyk or something.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you, lady. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna jack up his name. I'm gonna jack it up. Okay. So yeah, no, but they have the weapons that Lamar never really didn't have. The only weapon that he really had was Mark Andrews. Let's be real. Even though a lot of people said they traded away his best other asset in Hollywood Brown, but I'm just like, that wasn't even his best weapon. So again, like you said, if the Ravens can wait on those draft picks, again, the 49ers I can see them all the way to the Super Bowl if they get Lamar Jackson. I mean, the sad part about it is we didn't really get to see what Trey Lance is, but maybe they can do an exchange and probably send Trey Lance over there to the Ravens. Again, Brock Purdy is a sturdy backup. He proved that he can do it. They went out there and got Sam Darnold, so I feel like they're set. The situation is just too perfect for it not to happen.
Yeah, again, though, I don't know what they're going to give up, how long Baltimore willing to wait. Can they afford this? What is he going to ask for anyway? We got to, that's definitely, the price point is definitely still up in the air, but can they afford to pay that? Because they just paid Debo, they're paying CMC, I think they're paying Kittle, they just paid Hargrave. They made out of money out there. What's going on?
Hey, they could be the next Saints over there. We don't know. People be playing with Monopoly money nowadays.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, it is true. So another trade that we talked about, which is very strange to me, in my opinion, Philadelphia, they lost a lot of assets defensively and on the other side of the ball. And you're going to be looking at a partially new team coming into this offseason. And we know DeAndre Hopkins, he's kind of been overshadowed past couple of years due to injuries and the suspension he had last year, but he was still highly productive when he came back. Now, Cardinals are going to a whole possibly full rebuild, even with Kyler Murray, who also is rehabbing an ACL injury. So, D-Hop getting traded to the Philadelphia Eagles? I got some questions about this one because I mean, it makes sense because clearly he's way better than Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins is really just a deep threat, and he does have some mind-boggling drops in certain games and things like that. But just for him to go to, I don't want him to go to NFC East. I'm just going to be very biased right here.
DT, I'm sorry. You ain't even through it to us yet. But I must interrupt because listen here, man. Listen, I know D Hop, and I don't know, man. I've been off. You know what I'm saying, the news or whatever the last probably about 36 hours because you know what I'm saying I was traveling and my people, my sister, my daughter a little bit under the weather, so I may not know. Did D Hop request to go to Philly or something?
No, we're just throwing out some wild trades because I was the one that did it. Because you just
Oh, you
never
threw this
know.
stuff?
I threw this out.
Because I had thought the producer had got the bird wrong. That's why I had threw the other bird in the group chat. Like maybe we talking about this other bird. Oh, I'm sorry, but listen, but DT, I had to stop you because you should never ever in your life. I know you still, well, you know, you're a young man. Never ever. D Hop and Quez Watkins. Never ever. Never ever. Never same sentence. Comparison. Never. Not even in the same time zones. Never ever. You ain't got nothing to do with Quell. Well, it's strange to me too, though, DT, because I don't feel like the Eagles really need that. They got Devontae, they got AJ. You know, I think that would be a lot. I thought he really wanted to be there or something. That was strange to me. But Lady E, tell us your vision on this one.
Oh, my vision on this one is, hey, they lost weapons, might as well gain more weapons. You never know. Like we have seen some awkward trades that have happened before in the past that we just kind of sit here and be like, I would have never expected that person to go there. So hey, you know, might as well throw it out. Because again, like I said, you know, they hey, give Jalen Hurts more weapons. Give him more weapons, see what he can do with them. You never know. They might sit over here and say, hey, you know, we'll give you Devontae. We will give you him and we'll take D Hop, and then that you right there. You got two strong wide receivers for him. So hey.
That one took me by surprise right there. Again, I thought the producer had the wrong bird, so I'm gonna apologize to the producer. I thought he had the wrong file.
No, he said surprise trade. That will be a shocker and a surprise. There you go.
I got it. Yeah, but DT, no, Quez, no, Quez, no. D Hop, no comparison. No, no sin. Don't even put them in the same nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind next time. See, so the last lab work right here. So I think this makes a lot of sense. We heard. I don't know about y'all, but I was hearing some things earlier in the offseason talking about, you know, Tennessee Titans kind of reshaping their whole team, letting go high price on second year deals and things like that. And one guy that has been the staple for that team has been Derrick Henry. Now, we know Buffalo, when it comes to them running the ball, they have this tendency where they'll run the ball certain games, and then next thing you know, they're just leaning on Josh Allen being a bowling ball, trying to hit some pins. So Derrick Henry going to the Buffalo Bills will give them a boost and will probably provide some security and try to protect Josh Allen from all these hits last year. Remember, Josh Allen had that elbow injury, so I don't know, was that been a lingering thing just as well as having a new OC last year? And we know Brian Dable, he was with the New York Giants, so those things are factoring for his last season. And Derrick Henry, he just makes a lot of sense, Lady E, going to the Buffalo Bills.
No, he does. I feel like that was kind of one of their downfalls coming in from last season is that they really just couldn't run that ball effectively. Like again, we're putting everything in Josh Allen's hands. And doing that, they went and picked up my Georgia boy. They went up and picked up. Now this went and drew a freaking blank. Oh my gosh!
They got Damian Harris, I believe.
Yep, and then they got James Cook. I
Yeah,
threw
James
out
Cook, yeah.
Cook. I threw a whole blank. But yes, they went out there and picked them up, and I feel like those were good pickups for that. I just don't feel like they utilized those pickups the way that they need to when it came down to the running game. So hey, get a power horse. Like I said, I always call Derrick Henry a linebacker. I always say that he's a cheat code because he is a linebacker playing a running back position. So yeah, I mean that will help take that pressure off of Josh Allen. You know, give him an equal balance on that team, and we can see them probably move further than what they are, and they can actually really, in a sense, they already been a contender. They can actually really, really contend.
Yeah, actually, and this is one I threw out, and I always, think when I think about Buffalo, I think about them as mostly a finesse team right about now,
Mm-hmm.
playing in the well, not the Midwest, playing in the Northeast with weather conditions very, very similar to the Midwest. And if you're playing, I'm saying, all season to get this home field advantage, you should be able to actually take advantage of your home field advantage. And that, you need to, have a mutter, if you will. And I threw this out there, but I didn't retract it, but I thought about it, and I think it's kind of maybe highly unlikely that Tennessee trades within the conference. Maybe not. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they really see themselves as contenders, so maybe they would. So I kind of threw Philly out there as well, because I know they kind of need a running back. And they have a couple of draft picks in this upcoming draft, 10 and maybe 30. I think that, maybe they possibly will be able to possibly move maybe 30 for him, or maybe draft Bijan. And I think also, if they don't go this route through the trade route, Buffalo
Don't
could
say
be a
that too
nice.
loud. Don't say that too loud. You're gonna have Falcon fans jumping you.
They won't be John. They won't be John.
Baby, the whole Falcons community won't be John Robinson. So don't say that too loud. They will jump you.
He gonna make a pass. Tell me something. He gonna make a pass, and I got to do a mock draft. I got to do a mock draft tonight. He's gonna make a pass. Hey, I got a special for you.
Hey, they got him mocked to 8. That's what they're doing right now. If
How lady
anything,
he feel about that? How lady he feel?
I just want the best player available. That's what I want.
Okay. We can wrap right there.
Lord, we done started to be John talk. God, I don't want to do this. All right. So because of that, we're going to head and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss the top 5 defensive linemen in this upcoming NFL draft. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Do you sit back and say, man, these walls just need something? Feel like it's time to freshen up your place with something new? If your answer is yes, then it's time to call Rob of Lewis Paints Plus, the accent wall expert. Rob will even give you a free estimate on how he can transform those boring walls in your home. To book today, call 240-418-5241 or reach out on Instagram at Lewis Paints Plus. And for 10% off, tell him Red Zone sent you.
And we are back to Enter the Lab podcast. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. And we talked about over the air and outside the air about the defensive linemen coming up in this draft. You have some guys that have different shape, sizes, different skill sets that's coming to the NFL is going to provide for these teams. So 2 guys that I was looking at this offseason was Kalijah Casey from the University of Pittsburgh. It's something about Pittsburgh and having these short, stocky defensive linemen that can get quick upfield. Kind of reminds you of a guy I'm not going to say because we look at his Hall of Fame career already, and he's already balling stuff like that. But he has some similar things to that guy that I'm not going to name. And when he came to the combine, he just blew it up. He blew it up, and you look at his tape, 6'1", move like a dancing bear. He able to get upfield, cause pressure, and I think to me he's going to be probably debatable about outside of Jalen Carter, who's the second best defensive lineman in this draft. I think this guy has some skills that can help teams, and especially he goes to a 4-3 defense, and he's able to attack the center and guards and things like that. Kalijah Casey is going to be a name you need to keep up with. And then you already know, we talk about him. He can play outside linebacker. He can put his hand in the dirt. Nick Saban's guy. This is Nick Saban, boy. When you bring up Will Anderson, his eyes just light up. He is as advertised. Willie Anderson is just a baller. He should have won the Heisman the year before, if we really being honest. This dude had like almost 25 tackles for loss. I mean, oh my God. Anderson, wherever team he go, a team is going to get a leader out of him. They're going to get a baller out of him. I think he's going to be one of the up and coming defensive linemen that we're going to talk about for years to come.
I think both those guys are extremely impressive, man. Yancey's definitely a guy who can definitely, make an impact, especially as a pass rusher. He's one of the few guys in that defensive tackle room who can really, really push the pocket and get after the quarterback after Jalen. I might maybe even more so than Jalen, but he's a solid guy. And Willie, yeah, he a beast. He one of the best players in the draft, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like Will Anderson because he plays for Alabama, but hey, I can't deny his talent. And the things that he can do. Like I said, I'm gonna say it, but unless he's a back-to-back champion, it's other things than that. So I'm gonna just throw that out there. But no, we're gonna go ahead and get to my guys. One of my Clemson boys here, Miles Murphy. I feel like he's a pure edge rusher. I mean, he can fit in the 4-3, possible a 3-4, as an interior lineman. Long arms, and that's one thing a lot of D tackles need is those long arms, because at that point of contact, be able to gain that leverage. Feel like he's an athlete. I mean, he burst onto his feet. He has a burst of 156, so he's quick to get off the snap of the ball. So that is something that a lot of teams are going to be looking for, especially coming with him. He's 6'4", around 230ish, so he's a little freak. 4'5", 40. We're not really concerned with it, but just to kind of show you his speed. But sideline to sideline speed is amazing from what I've seen on film. The only thing about him, he can definitely develop into a scary pass rusher. He really can. Get him with the right team, get that development going. The only con for him is he had very low sack numbers. Honestly, a lot of people played more attention to Brian Breesy than him, but I feel like, either way it goes, the Clemson defense with those two on there, they were causing havoc in the backfield regardless. So again, actually they got him slated to come to us too. Remember I said best player available. So we're even slated to have Miles Murphy. So to even go into that, another one of the Clemson boys, Brian Breesy. Now, I'm going to start off with the cons for him. Injury prone. Only 25 games he played in his whole college's year, less than fewer 500 defensive snaps. So it's a lot of concern with him with that. He still can go number one because, again, film does not lie. He will stand out. A lot of people are actually picking him over Miles Murphy because of it. Natural athlete, 6'5", 300 pounds. He's that perfect NFL prototypical. He can play the 3 technique in a 4-3 or the 5 technique in a 3-4, like very versatile. The only thing is he is injury prone, and then his pad level is not where it needs to be, but that can be developed, and he loses a lot of leverage, and then he needs to develop those pass rushing skills. He gets with a pass rushing beast, my good boy Chuck, but he get with a good pass rushing beast to work on those skills, because again, he has a pass rushing skill. He can do a bull rush tremendously, but that's not even great. It's not even good. So once he gets into the NFL, he works on them strengths, works on them reaches, stay healthy. He is going to be a beast as well. So, yes, those are my two Clemson guys, even though I can't stand Clemson, but those are my two boys. You on mute?
I'm sorry. Let me get it together. I'm sorry. I like both of those players. I think Miles Murphy was definitely one of the most consistent players coming out in this draft for the defensive end spot. And Breesy, like you said, has a high upside, high motor, but those injuries are going to be key. So let's talk about one of my hometown boys, man. My man, Mozzie Smith, the bowling ball himself, 6'3", 337. I mean, is a prototypical nose tackle, but shows enough athleticism to possibly be a 3 technique in a 4-3 defense. A run stopper extraordinaire. Didn't have huge sack numbers. Was kind of used as a guy to kind of take up blockers and really, really collapse the pocket. But again, in the right defense, going to be a guy who can really, really, really stuff the run. Next, I'm going to talk about Tyree Wilson, who's an exciting pass rusher in this year's class. A guy who really, really, really showed a lot of growth from his junior to his from last year to this year. I don't know exactly what his classification was, but from last year to this year, definitely showed pass rush prowess over the last 2 years, combining for 14 sacks. Last year, 37 total tackles. this year up to 61 tackles, man, 36 total this year. I'm sorry, solos this year. So stepped up his game against the run. A guy who's being projected as high as number 5 to like a team like Seattle. Detroit is looking at him. The only question mark is with him. He broke his foot, so he hasn't been able to work out during this off season. So teams really haven't had the chance to really gauge his athletic ability. But again, 6'6", 276 shows prototypical size. Has ability to put on more weight, long arms, like you said, Lady E. Those are key for getting off blocks. Using, has great hand movements, avoids tackles. Avoids getting blocked at the point of at the line of scrimmage, at the point of attack. Strong against the run. Solid prospect, man.
I see it. Even though, Texas Tech wasn't high up in there, again, they've been producing a lot of good players. So this is to say, hopefully you can finally put the narrative that the Big 12 don't play defense. So let's cross our fingers.
They don't play no defense over there, though. We talking about a couple guys over there. They don't play no defense, though.
I was trying to give them hope.
I want to touch on Mozzie Smith real quick because for those that don't know, I'm also on the Huddle podcast with Deuce Breeze and CeeLo, and we had one of his teammates on the show and just talk about Mozzie. And from what I've seen, this guy is a strong dude. I mean, he's like one of the guys that's going to appear on ESPN Dudes of the Week. And I also do agree with you on C. Henry. I think he's kind of been underutilized due to how they wanted to play him at Michigan. I think if he goes in the right scheme and maybe play like the 3 technique, he can be a guy that can get 8 to 9 sacks. I think he has the pass rush ability to get to the quarterback, and he also has the ability to stop the run. I'd like Mozzie Smith. I'm not going to be shocked wherever he gets selected. I think someone's going to get a ball player.
I think, when you talk about him, I think he is definitely underrated, but still underdeveloped in terms of his pass rush. He is a freakish athlete for somebody his size. The quickness that he shows, his initial step is just, he's just off the charts there. Again, if he refines some of his, pass rush movements and technique, he may be a guy who can consistently get you 3 to 5 sacks. And so sometimes, good push and 3 to 5 sacks is all you need from a guy in the middle. 6'3", 330. You know what I mean? That's a big boy.
Yeah.
Hey, he can come out. You never know. Might be another Anthony.
Man, y'all funny, man. All right.
You have to throw shots at Henry from time to time. It's okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your new host, DT. I am the host of the Ins and Out D podcast, a friend-friendly NFL podcast where we talk about all the teams, including my own Washington Commanders, even touch on college football. I just gotta tell you guys, this is a great podcast for you to listen to, and you guys can also follow me at D Cleveland Jr. on Twitter. This is one of the most touchy topics when it comes to the NFL draft. And of course, I have been seeing it in our spaces. I'm pretty sure you have seen it in Atlanta Falcons spaces and C. Henry as well. So when it comes to the NFL draft and you're looking at your boards, we know that our projected players that we see, we have our own board where we project them. But them NFL teams that we dearly love, it's going to be totally different on draft time. So how do we as a fan try to balance, knowing that we have needs in the first round, especially like, let's say, offensive lineman, corner, linebackers, but you see a guy that is something that is not a need, but he's just talented and you can't pass up on that. What do us as fans, how do we balance that when it comes to draft time, and how do we balance our temptations? Because a lot of people won't agree with taking something that a position that you don't need, but then you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. While he did get sacked 70 times, that combination got them to the Super Bowl. That combination got them to the AFC Championship once again with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So, see, Henry, how do you balance that when it comes to NFL draft time, looking at the best players and the players of need?
Man, I can only speak to my own thinking here, and it's complicated a little bit. You know, I think sometimes your thinking can kind of be, you know, if you're not really your own person, it can be kind of be driven by your team and your fandom. Like for me personally, I see a lot of folks in my fandom, they always want to draft for need. The reason for that is we always need every damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So when you need everything, you find yourself trying to fill holes on your roster instead of trying to get the most special players possible. So you're like, okay, I got a running back and he's decent. He's decent. So now let me just try to find another tackle or whatever. Wow, okay, cool. You got a running back and he's decent, but you got somebody else who may be the next Walter Payton or the next Barry Sanders. You can't just say, okay, well, I got a guy there and I'm gonna just, pass on this guy, because for me, my fandom has done that for many, many years. And I saw us pass on Randy Moss and draft Terry Fair, pass on Clinton Portis and draft Boss Bailey, pass on Aaron Donald and draft Eric Ebron. So for me, I'm scolded. I'm like, I don't care what comes down to it, best player possible. So just to give you a quick example, I'm gonna bring his name back up. I'm gonna talk about Bijan a little bit in this draft. I feel like, we're straight at the running back position, but at the same time, Swift is in his contract year, and there's a lot of talk that we're not going to bring him back. So therefore, we like to run the football a lot. The NFL has come to a situation where a lot of running backs, need to be utilized. Running back by committee needs to be utilized. So I'm of the thought process that I'm with Bijan at 6, 18, whatever, especially at 18, because I can't even name 10 players who are better than Bijan in this draft. So if he drops down to 18, I would love to have him. But at the same time, I think that sometimes we think, well, you guys need so much defense. Well, guess what? If you get a Bijan and add him to your offense, first of all, it's another weapon, makes your offense that much more effective. But also, you could possibly play the game of time of possession and keep that bad defense off the field longer. So indirectly, it's helping your defense. So we got to look at things for like best player available, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion. But again, I see how folks would be like, if we always need, let's just fill up the roster holes until we got a team, and then let's see what's up.
I'm just gonna speak for my team because Henry heard the other day about it, and we actually did it in the draft previous when it came down to us drafting Kyle Pitts. Justin Fields was right there. A lot of people, again, Matt Ryan has been getting hated for years when it came down to it, as I call it, the black and mild community within the Falcon fan base are still stuck on Vic and still want a player that is similar to Vic. That's why a lot of them are yelling and screaming for Anthony Richardson as well. So, again, I feel like what we did in the offseason and what a lot of teams, I think what a lot of people actually too miss is when you have a team that goes out there and fills majority of your holes in the offseason, then you can go best player available when it comes down to the draft. We did what we were supposed to do. We filled the holes that we needed to fill. So for us as a Falcons, we can go defense, we can go offense. We can literally pick up another tight end if we want to. It just really depends on who falls to us at 8. If Jalen Carter falls to us at 8, more than likely going with him. If Bijan is there at number 8, we'll more than likely go with him. If Miles Murphy is there at 8 and they want Miles, it's so many ways that we can go as a Falcon, for the Falcons to do that, because we did our holes. Now, where a lot of teams, I think, when they mess up is when they don't, and that this is because they're either money strapped. There's not a lot of players that they deem is doable for what they want to sign the contracts to. So they don't pick up a lot of players in offense. So now you really have to go and build through the draft. Now, we have seen success where teams have been building through the draft for years and have come out successful. But that doesn't work. That formula doesn't work for everybody. That only works for certain people when it comes down to it. But, again, I really feel like it depends on the team. It depends on the GM, and it kind of depends on what they do in the offseason. Because, again, if you don't hit on what you need to hit on, then that's when you're going to go to the draft and actually go hit on those needs. So yes, C. Henry.
No, see, I'm glad you brought that point up, I'm glad you brought that point up, but I had to smile on the inside because I had a request, I had a pivot, I had a reverse. If we was playing Uno, I had a reverse. I got a double question. I'm gonna ask you, E, but first I'm gonna off your point. I'm gonna ask DT because, like I said, your franchise, y'all been spending some money. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing what y'all been doing. I've been seeing what young Fontino been doing. He doing something. You know how I feel about what Brad been doing up here. You know how I feel about that. Now we got DT. We got DT representing, you know what I'm saying, the DC area. And, you know, it ain't been quite as sweet. You know what I'm saying? So the reverse pivot question is how you feel about best player versus need, because y'all got a lot of stuff to kind of work out. So when you looking at this situation, are you looking at the best player available, or are you trying to fill holes for your needs right now?
So I'll say this, and I think for a lot of people on Spaces, they think I am, and let's be clear, this is not, when we talk about best player available, this is not a Bijan Robinson like slander. This is not Bijan Robinson slander. I just want to put it out there. So the main person of conversation when it comes to best player available has been Bijan Robinson, though, because he plays a position that has been devalued, and a lot of teams are having these 2-3 back sets and multiple running backs by committees. But when you look at the kid is just talented. And when I think for Washington, like, we have a lot of needs, and though from what Ron is saying, them needs have been filled. So now he wants to feel like he can go best player available. So where does Bijan fit in the best player available? Is he maybe 5, 6, or after a couple tackles and things like that? That's what we have to see on the board. Now, I do agree with Telly like this, and I hope Telly sees this. I do believe if we get a guy like Bijan or any best player available on the board, they can have an impact no matter what. Because when you look at Dallas drafted Ezekiel Elliott, number 4, and he had an impact that helped a young quarterback like Dak Prescott get an easy starts in the NFL. So think about it with Bijan, and you have a young quarterback who only had 19 pass attempts with a new offense, or even with Jacoby Brissett. You get a guy like that, and he can elevate the offense that already has some talent and take it to a level we probably haven't seen before. And then you're trying to balance the needs. Well, okay, we need a corner, but this class is deep at corner. I can afford to get a guy maybe in the 3rd or 4th round. He can give me the same production as a first round corner. Not saying he's going to be all pro and stuff, but I just need someone that can hold their own. Or I can get a tight end that he has first round talent, probably, or he can get me 50, 60 catches per season. I think that's what the thing when it comes to best player available versus need is, you have needs at certain areas, but you can't just let a player like this get away from you, and you know he can change your franchise. Like, Jonathan Allen was a top 5 player in his draft, and he fell all the way to 17.
Yeah.
So real quick, I got a question for both of you guys, kind of a player comparison, if you will, and you guys can kind of, tell me how you feel if you were drafting in place of your team. So Lady E, I'll ask you first. If Bijan Robinson is there at A and or Jalen Carter at A, Lady E, the GM, what card are you giving to the commissioner?
Ooh, that one's a tough one because Grady's been
you
suffering
take your
for
Georgia
years.
bias out of it, first of all.
No, I'm gonna take my Georgia bias out of it. I really am, because one, I'm not gonna lie, Grady Jarrett's been suffering without any help for a lot of time. He's been getting double team, triple team. Having a person like Jalen Carter like that on the line can help ease and actually let Grady go in and be that pass rusher threat that we know that he can be. So that is boosting up a defense. And the last time we had a good pass rusher was Jonathan Abraham. So yeah, to have that little there, that's very tempting. But then we got Ty last year, 1,000-yard receiver. We really never had a running back on our team like that. We probably got used from others, but we never had like a solid running back tandem since probably you could say Freeman and literally Coleman. So when it comes down to it, the card that I will honestly handle in, because again, I'm dealing with a rookie quarterback. You know, he needs all the help we can get and have that balanced offense. And then we need other weapons on the field besides Kyle Pick and Drake London, because again, we're still needing a number 2 wide receiver. So honestly, the card that I'm really gonna handle in, and I know my Georgia fans are gonna give me for this, but I'm going to hand in that Bijan Robinson card.
I
can't
like
hear the
it,
class
Gio,
beat on the
baby.
music.
See, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Okay,
Now,
Yeah,
DT.
I'm ready.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lady E. Go ahead.
no,
Get your
I'm just
moment.
saying.
Get your moment.
No, I'm just saying.
Time
I'm
for the
like,
fans.
I
We
hate
out. We
that.
out. Yeah.
I mean, half the fan base is gonna like that, but like I said, my Georgia people are not gonna like that. But hey, like I said, we got a rookie QB. He needs all the help he can get.
If he turns out to be like a Gurley or AP or LaDainian Tomlinson, like even a Zeke, like though, that'll be a big win for y'all and for
Well,
Desmond. That'll be
yeah.
cool.
And
And
then that
then
helps Tyler. And that helps Tyler and Jerry. You know, you don't want, like, again, we seen with Zeke what happened with the Dallas Cowboys.
it
They
might
ran
help,
that man
or
to
it
the
might
ground.
just lead him to being right on his way out the league. You know, somebody have to go sometimes when these special guys come in. Somebody got to make some room.
That's probably gonna be Cordero. That's probably who he's gonna be, because he's on his last. So yeah, that's probably gonna be Cordero.
DT, let me ask you this real quick. I know we stretch for time. If you guys have, is it Broderick Jones, the tackle from? Is that his? I'm sorry, I don't want to make sure I got the right last name.
Yeah,
from Georgia.
Roger Jones. Yeah,
Broderick Jones, Darnell Wright, or Joey Porter.
That's a good one. That's actually a good one. So if I'm looking at my situation, knowing my offensive line, Charles Leno, he's going to be older. He's going to be on the other age of 30. You're paying him a lot of money, and you need to find a tackle of the future. While you knowing your defense is top 4, but it still, to me, hasn't reached that level like the 49ers. And I know what is missing. It has been a linebacker and a top flight corner. And the interesting thing about this, though, that I like that you did, these are 2 premium positions in the NFL right now, the tackle and the corner. So if I had to do it, I'm going to have to take the tackle. I'm going to have to take the tackle.
Which one? You got 10 seconds on the clock. Which one, man? The clock is running, man.
I'm going to take Broderick.
You got to get the name in, and they got to get it up to the podium, man. Who you got?
I'm going to take Broderick Jones. I'm going to take Broderick Jones out of Georgia. I think he's going to be a great left tackle in the future, solid 10 to 15-year pro.
Okay. I like
hey. Georgia actually has proof, because Mark Andrews is still the center for the New England Patriots. So that is proof that we produce tackles, we produce offensive linemen, and everybody that can stay in the league. I don't know about running backs right now, because Swift is kind of iffy.
I like that.
No.
I like that.
Okay, but Henry, what about you?
Well, throw some names out there. What pick you talking? About?
Let's see. Because y'all are sitting at 6.
6.
So
and 18.
Okay. Okay. So let's say here you got 6. You got Will Anderson. You still have. Let's see here. We got the top. You still have. Let's see, Anthony Richardson. That's still out there. Then I'm trying to think of what else. What else? Let's see here. And then you got a Bijan. Let's put Bijan in there. Let's throw Bijan in that fire.
So you said Bijan, Anthony Richardson, or Willie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Now in this case, this is easy for me because I have Willie Anderson as one of the top 3 players in the league. And again, this is because we have 2 picks. This is because Brad has put us in a position where we don't have to draft for extreme need. We don't have to reach for maybe a Jalen Carter, who I might not feel so comfortable with right now at 6. or we don't have to reach for a Kalijah Kancey, who I have probably outside my top 15 at 6 just for need, because we're in a good spot and we have multiple picks in the first and second round. Forgive me for my daughter coughing in the background. But with this pick, I got Willie Anderson, one of my top 3 players in this draft. I think we might even move up to 3, possibly to get him, even though we have Aiden Hutchinson, and even though we have James Houston, to get all 3 of these premier pass rushers on rookie deals would be ideal. I would go Willie Anderson.
Oh, wow.
Willie Anderson. Yes, I would. Now, guess what? Now, if he gone, I'm not afraid to take Bijan right there. I'm not afraid. Because at 18, there could be somebody like Kalijah Kancey there. They could be, something, another, person that we can take to improve our team. A cornerback. Porter may be there.
Mm-hmm.
I like Cam Smith. I like Emmanuel Forbes as well. Another thing I'm just going to throw out there, just a nugget. We're looking for that interior lineman. I know we like Jalen. I don't know if we're still in on him after what's happened. Don't be surprised. A trade that might pop us in Tennessee. They have the 11th pick. They may be interested in moving up to get a quarterback, maybe moving up in the 6th pick. But we also have a big need at the defensive line position. We may be looking at Jeffrey Simons. We have over $25 million in salary cap, so we can absorb his contract. Well, I think he's on like 10.5 right now against the cap, but he is looking for a deal. So we can, possibly move, to 6, possibly in some type of move from to 11, or possibly just 18 straight up for him, or maybe even 2 picks on on day 2, like the 48th and the 81st pick for a Jeffrey Simons type of player, and pay him $15, $16, $17 million a year. We can do that. So a lot of things are on the table here in Detroit, man. And Brad, and I love talking about this draft stuff. Yes, I do.
But finally, they can make some moves.
Long time coming, baby. It's been a long time coming. We've been paralyzed by drafting by need. I tell you, paralyzed by it.
Hey, y'all, what's up? It's your girl, Lady E. Make sure y'all catch us on Falcons Tuesday. That's every Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And for my people that live in the Central Time, 5:30. Okay, this is where we go down and we talk about the Falcons game. We talk about the Falcons information, breaking news, everything. And if you even just want to vent about them Atlanta Falcons, come on, because baby, Dirty Bird Nation be ready for you and be ready to hear it. So like I said, catch us out on the spaces on Twitter. You can find me at Lady E_. Tell them. Love y'all. Mwah.
And with that being said, this was a dope episode, ladies and gentlemen. And you guys were watching Enter the Lab podcast, presented by Red Zone DC.
It's definitely smokescreen season out here, folks. We are less than 3 weeks away from the draft, and rumors are starting to fly left and right. Information or misinformation, if you will, regarding players are flooding our timelines, man. We're hearing rumors of trades, players moving up and down, and sometimes off teams' draft boards. Where there's smoke, is there really fire? We shall see. All I can say is don't trust all of the stuff that you hear out here, but also don't dismiss it either. In this league, you never know. Anything can happen. Until next time, folks. Thank you for listening to another episode of Enter the Lab with your boy, DT, Atlanta's #1 lady, Lady E, and yours truly, C. Henry.
Thank you for listening to Enters the Lab podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Red Zone in the Lab and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can download your podcast wherever you get your podcasts and visit us at redzoneinthelab.com.